I think that there's a daily metronome of self-choosing, which is a way of being. It's an emanation. It's an exclamation. Like it's a way of making a statement without even saying a word. Self-choosing isn't a reactionary experience. It should feel like a little bit of a liberation in the body and not a contraction and closure.
Choosing yourself in so many ways is actually a function of creating safety in your body. I think that's where it starts. It's like coming home to your body and prioritizing safety, prioritizing rest, prioritizing harmony, prioritizing that nervous system state where you can exhale and relax. And if it's something that pulls you out of that, it's a choice you get to make. And I think that's the journey that we all come on. Hi, darling.
Hi, babe.
We're back.
Yeah, it's like a thing now.
I know. I love this. It's anytime we feel like there's a principle or a lesson that feels emergent, we just get on the mic and hit record. So today, I would love to talk about the topic and idea of self-choosing. Choosing oneself. Because I'm looking at my own journey, even after us speaking about your journey, like this is, I feel like, the ultimate test of relationship, or even test of being alive inside of a world that doesn't actually want you to choose yourself. Or like communities that push, people pleasing or self-abandonment or not having boundaries is actually like a badge of honor. So it's a radical revolution to choose self. And so I'd love to maybe start with just defining, what do you define as self-choosing?
I love what you said about we live in a world that doesn't promote us being alive inside of self-choosing. That was really powerful. Self-choosing, I think an important pillar of self-choosing is sovereignty, energetic sovereignty, being really okay with, so there's three pieces here, being really okay with saying no. And so as a woman, it's connecting to your strong spine, your tall spine, and connecting to your soft heart, and connecting to your sword, your yes and your no. I feel like those three pillars are really important pieces of self-choosing, that there's a sprinkle of strength, a sprinkle of softness, and a sprinkle of sharpness as well, for the message to land all the way through for the other person, if you're declaring the self-choosing to another person.
What about self-choosing to yourself? Like, what does that actually look like? What does it even mean to choose yourself? Because and I can even speak just from my own like journey. Like, I was living a life, and in relationship, where I was abandoning all of my own desires and needs and not putting any importance on them. It's like one way of choosing self was actually advocating for my own needs, or being able to even admit to myself that I was worthy of having needs, or admitting to myself that I deserve X, or allowing myself to disappoint other people if that meant rest for me or joy for me. So like, so what are some maybe examples of self-choosing that you've either had to build relationship with because it didn't come natural to you, or that you've now defined or have seen as like, oh, this is what it means to choose myself, or live a life of choosing self?
I think we can have a daily cadence of choosing ourselves, like a metronome, I call it, of self-choosing, which for me looks like sadhana, a daily practice. Every day, morning, first thing, before you check emails, text messages, threads, feed your dog, cook your breakfast, choose yourself. Non-negotiable, metronome. I always like to say that a daily practice sets the tone of worthiness, aka self-choosing sets the tone that I am worthy of being chosen, right? And so you start to tend to that fire of self-choosing, and then eventually you start to emanate the signal and you become a woman who is already chosen because you're self-choosing. And then the world responds or doesn't. But what's interesting is when the world doesn't respond with your level of self-devotion and self-choice, it's actually quite clear because it's a different frequency than you're used to feeling within yourself every single day.
And those moments are tests.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you've been showing up with daily devotion to self, and then you're met with a
Yes.
frequency where somebody wants something for you, or when there's like an old person who comes into your life, or there's something that pulls you out of that frequency. In fact, I found that those moments are actually the moments to choose yourself even deeper. It's like to hold the boundary, to stick the commitment you've made to yourself, to remember the love that you've been cultivating internally. And that declaration is actually, I feel like, a big part of the journey of choosing yourself. In fact, it's designed to be that way. Like the universe intentionally tests you when you make that commitment to self-devotion.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, the world just matches our frequency. So when we start to become, and I'll just speak to women because I am a woman and I know that the feminine leads with her energy, her tone, her frequency, and the world just matches that, her signal. And so, especially the masculine, because when a woman has a daily practice, whatever that practice is, that is actually activated by her inner masculine. Because the inner masculine is the one that commits, shows up, discipline, structure, daily cadence, right? Just like the sun. And so when she cultivates a healthy relationship with her inner masculine, the one that says, yep, we're going to do the thing even if we don't want to, the outer masculine is going to feel that and respond accordingly. So I think that there's a daily metronome of self-choosing, which is a way of being. It's an emanation. It's an exclamation. Like it's a way of making a statement without even saying a word. I love myself. I choose myself. Boom, period. End of story. It doesn't need this like sharp, like defiant, maybe in the beginning it does, you know, because it's new, but eventually it's like, that's why I said strong spine, soft heart, sharp sword. So you practice in your daily practice. And then another way you can choose yourself as a woman is to be okay with interrupting and disrupting a moment. So there's the daily self-choosing, which just gets woven into the fabric of your being. But then there's saying no. There's saying no when you said yes a few days ago, because right now it's actually not true. That you can give yourself permission to change your mind, to ruin a plan, to disrupt. You know, my teacher, Jillian Pothier, says the feminine ruins moments. And not ruin in a bad way, but just look at nature, storms, catastrophes, whirlwinds of storms that come in and all the dead leaves of a branch fall off. So it's like, I always like to say truth breeds truth. So in the self-choosing, if you're connected to your strong spine and your open heart and your sharp sword, the truth of the moment of self-choosing is also going to be medicine for the other person on the other side of it.
Totally. I mean, this is something that I've had to learn over the years is, you know, especially as somebody who came from an environment that never knew how to set boundaries, who was not good at advocating for his own needs. When I would see other people doing it, it would trigger me. And it would bring up all my stuff and I'd be like, how dare they? Or I would try to project on them. But the reality is I was actually angry at myself for not having my own back, choosing myself in that way. In fact, that showed up in our relation almost like 3 weeks ago. Like you set the most beautiful boundary of self-choosing. You're like, I'm choosing myself because this is what I'm committing to this season. And I'm saying no to all those types of experiences. And just that, even then, even somebody who's been choosing himself so deeply, you choosing yourself brought forth a deeper level of like choosing in me. And so there's the trusting in that when you say no to other people or when you set a boundary, when you upset them, disappoint them, create an experience in them, that's actually part of their healing too. And It's actually the kindest, most liberating thing you can do for them, because it's helping them liberate from all the aspects of self that are not choosing.
Yes. Yes. It's the piece of your truth will inspire some and trigger others, and both is medicine, you know? And what's coming through as you're bringing up that story from a few weeks ago is like self-choosing isn't a reactionary experience. It's not like a no, I won't. And, you know that you're sinking into self-choosing when you feel an opening. It should feel like an opening. It should feel like a little bit of a liberation in the body and not a contraction and closure. Right? So it's rooted in love, self-love and love for the other, as you shared. And like that experience that we had a few weeks ago, I'll leave out details, but we had a really beautiful invite to something. And also I had a pretty full calendar that week. And one of which was like, a Kundalini training that I'm deeply devoted to right now. That is a big part of my path. And I had to sit at my altar. So just so you guys can understand, like the practice of self-choosing, I had both. Which one do I choose? I knew one meant we would get to experience deeper connection. It was really important to you. And then one was something that I was already committed to and was choosing me. And I had to really I sat at my altar and I had a phone call with my sister, and I really felt into which one is true for me. And how I knew was because I've practiced self-choosing is like I can tune into my central channel and my spine and my belly. And when I lean into, okay, how does it feel in my body if I make this decision? Okay, how does it feel in my body if I make this decision? And I know that I'm self-abandoning and betraying self when I feel a subtle shift out of that central channel. That's how I know. I'm like, I live each experience. I run it through the body, not the mind.
Yeah.
And I can feel like a little tilt off my center. And that's how I know, because regardless of how amazing that experience that we would have done together would have been, it was sending out this pulse into our relationship, into the whole field, that I betray myself, even if it's ever so slightly.
Totally. And I think this is a really important piece. Choosing yourself in so many ways is actually a function of creating safety in your body. Like, I think that's where it starts. It's like coming home to your body and prioritizing safety, prioritizing rest, prioritizing harmony, prioritizing that nervous system state that is just like where you can exhale and relax. And if it's something that pulls you out of that, it's a choice you get to make. And I think that's the journey that we all come on. Like, you begin with being so dysregulated, maybe living in environments where you're not choosing yourself. I mean, that was me like 5-6 years ago. I remembered, like, coming out of my 9-year relationship, that was the first time I ever decided to choose myself in a big way. And then it was like meandering forward, because I had then, like, I was still living in an environment, business relationships, where I wasn't choosing myself. I was self-abandoning to make other people happy. But then as I felt safer and safer in my body and I came home, then it started getting really clear. Oh, wow, this is actually not an alignment. Choose self. This is actually not an alignment. Okay, I need to say no. This is actually not an alignment. And it's those micro moments of choosing self that then became the devotional practice. And I think there's something there around like harmony. Like, choosing self is harmony. Is there other like if you had to create a frequency of self-choosing, like a signal of self-choosing, what are words you might use to describe how one feels when they are choosing self?
Yeah. It's free. There's a state of knowing, self-knowing, trust, peace, ease, calm, grounded. Self-choosing is not a process of the mind. It's just not. Choosing is a process of the body and the heart, And it's a practice that, like, you cultivate. So I love that you mentioned this word alignment, I think a lot of times women I speak to get in their mind of like, is this a good decision or a bad decision? If I say yes, will they like me or will they not like me? Like it's very polarized, good, bad, yes, no, right, wrong, which puts a lot of pressure on us. And it's a head brain experience versus what you spoke to of alignment, moment to moment. Is this aligned? Is this not aligned? Every time we make a decision that steps us away from self-choosing, aka it's self-abandoning or self-betraying, you pixelate your signal.
Mm.
You sprinkle noise and erratic like static into your auric field, into your energy field, into your signal. And when I say signal, I just mean the energy, the pulse that you're putting out there into the world. So if you like think about old radio stations, FM, you dial the knob, and like when you're in between channels, it's like you can hear like two things at once, and it's like, what's happening? But then you land on the right station, and there's this clear signal. And it doesn't matter what that signal is, right? Everyone has their own signature. But if you're self-choosing, it's just going to be stronger, wider, more potent, more powerful. So that which is actually meant for you and your unique signal will find you. So this is like so key with women who so often are walking around desperate to be chosen, praying to be chosen, but they're not choosing themselves.
Mm.
So the self-choosing is sending out that bat signal of I am a woman, or I am a man who chooses myself. Like any time that you've chosen yourself, it's like the polarity in our relationship is just incredible. Like I love it when you choose yourself because it's trustable.
I'm curious about your own journey of self-choosing. Like, what did it look like when you weren't choosing yourself? And then how did your life, this is what I was going to ask. So like, what did it look like when you weren't choosing yourself? And how did life transform when you did?
Wow, that's a great question. When I wasn't choosing myself, it's because I didn't know myself. So there was a period in my life, and then there was a tipping point where I started to actually know myself. So again, we can't choose ourselves if we don't know ourselves, right? Because what are we choosing? The capital S, self. So what did it look like when I wasn't choosing myself? My life was not aligned according to my soul curriculum. I was 27. I was working in the medical field. I was married. I was just going through the metronome of daily life and the blur of daily life and the numbness of daily life. Wasn't choosing myself. Didn't know what that even meant. Didn't know that I wasn't choosing myself. Didn't even know that I wasn't feeling connected to a higher purpose. And then there was like a tipping point, and I could feel like the soul in my cage and the ribs start to like rattle and make decisions for me because it got to like a tipping point. And there were many moments and series of moments that I interrupted the timeline and chose myself. And so in the aftermath of learning to choose myself, there was refinement, because in the beginning, it's like, it's not graceful. And you might hurt some people. And you might say the wrong thing. It's like anything that we're learning. It's going to be clunky. There's going to be jagged edges. We're learning. So really have compassion with yourself as you're learning to choose
That's
yourself.
a form of choosing yourself.
Yeah.
It's like choosing yourself is having compassion for the parts of you that mess up. It's like, even when you mess up, even when you're not perfect, is that version of you still worth loving? Which is a form of self-choosing.
I love that so much. Just like when you're in devotional partnership, you choose that person over and over and over again. And so self-choosing, this is why I go back to daily practice. And this is why a daily practice sets the inner script of you're worth it, you're worth showing up for today. Whether you're grumpy, whether you're cranky, whether you've gained 25 pounds, it doesn't matter. You're worth it. You are worth it. And so you create that inner loop of like, unconditional love and showing up for yourself, you know? And I would say like 5 years ago, that layer of self-choosing really showed up is my sadhana, my daily practice. And then it just deepens and it refines. And now I just know who I be. And it's like a gust of wind. Like a gust of wind can come in like a cross breeze, and I know, whoop, something's off. Where am I not choosing? And then I recalibrate.
Was there a moment or moments where the pain of not choosing was outweighed by the joy of choosing? Like when did the tails, like the scales tip? Because I think this is a big piece where like if there's two things that are equal, you know, like self-abandoning and making everyone else happy, or choosing self and making everyone unhappy. Like
Yeah.
the making everyone unhappy is it's a pain, but you move through it.
Well, and I would argue to unhook that. Choosing self equals making everyone else unhappy. That's why most people aren't choosing themselves. That's
Exactly.
not
Well,
true.
this is what I want to speak to.
Yeah.
It's like I'm speaking to that because I think there's a fear, a story, an idea that if I choose myself, it's at the expense of others. And my sense is there's a way you've navigated your journey because you're here now that's met each of those moments and has seen a different side of the experience. And so if you could speak to the different side of the experience that might give someone the courage to choose themselves when they're afraid that doing that might mean.
So again, start in the lowest risk place in the privacy of your own home. Doesn't involve anybody else. Nobody needs to know about it. Set up a little altar space, a little yoga mat, a little meditation cushion, a little sanctuary for self-choosing in your home that you do every day. And that's it. Let it be your own little secret. You don't have to make a declaration on Instagram. You don't need to tell a soul. You don't need to tell your partner even. Just choose yourself and practice and trust that sometimes it looks like a tipping point and a tower moment. And sometimes it's just like, wow, I told the barista that I asked for coconut milk instead of oat milk today, instead of not saying something. Wow, that's a big change for me. And nobody else needs to know about it. It's all happening in the privacy of your own experience.
This is so good. So what are some progress markers of somebody choosing themselves? Like that was really good. Like that's a great, like, oh, wow. Yeah. Like even me just not accepting this $4 coffee, having the wrong milk in it.
Totally.
Like,
yes. So yeah, that's subtle, right? If you didn't get what you asked for at a restaurant, say something. If you don't like your food, lovingly say, I don't love it. Can I see the menu? You know, break that pattern of being agreeable, relatable, palatable, digestible, good, you know? So again, low risk, really low risk. The barista at Starbucks doesn't care that you need a different kind of oat milk, a different kind of milk in your coffee, but it is a monumental moment for you on a soul level, right? I celebrate these things with my clients all the time. I'm like, this is big, you know? So again, let's take the relational out of it because it's terrifying. That's going to come naturally down the road, and it will come at the pace of love, and it will come at the pace of the slowest part of you. So those little ripples, you know, here's like another layer that might be more relational is really feeling into the choices that you make in terms of what you put in your body. Do you drink alcohol anymore? Is that actually true for you? Are you afraid that if you say no to a glass of wine at dinner, like what will people think? But maybe that's you actually choosing yourself, right? I know that's a layer you and I have been through in our journey of self-choosing. Canceling plans is okay. And I think, again, this is where it's nuanced because for the avoidant type out there, you know, maybe canceling plans is a normal thing for you. So really tune in before you cancel plans. And am I doing this to self-choose? Again, how do you know the difference? you hang up the phone after saying, I love you guys, but I'm going to hold out tonight. You should feel opening in your body. You should
Mm.
feel like you've just gotten into a warm bath, metaphorically. There should feel
Mm.
ease. Yes, I made the right choice. Versus you're saying no because you're shoulding, you're shaming. If it's not coming from self-choosing, you're going to feel a collapse. You're going to feel contraction. You're going to feel a little bit of a downward spiral. Right?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. And I feel like, and I would love to also dive into, you've talked a lot, I've heard you talk a lot about like the performative feminine
Mm.
and that idea of just performing in order to be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about the journey of unraveling and unhooking from performance to presence, or whatever that opposite is?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know this one well, and I know a lot of women do. So there's, and I love that you brought that in because that's also pre self-choosing and post the culture of self-choosing. So the performative feminine, it loves to be viewed. She loves to be viewed in a certain type of way. Agreeable, relatable, so sweet, polite, never disrupts the moment, contorts herself so that everybody else is comfortable. But inside, she's clenched, she's not breathing deeply, and she's got a lot of unexpressed emotions behind her smile. She doesn't know herself. She's actually not like living and breathing and transparent with the moment. So even though a lot of people may view her as this lovely object, nobody actually really sees her. And she doesn't see herself. So the performative feminine never, on a soul level, is chosen. Then there's I call it the informative feminine, where she shifts from performing, pressing out, pressing out, pressing out. She's like, the performative feminine's like, look at me, but don't look at me, right? Look at the false constructs of me. The informative feminine is the woman who self-chooses. She connects to herself continuously with every breath, is informed by her body signals, the world around her, the way eye contact comes, like she's here in this moment and she's present. So that's where it comes back to presence. So she walks into a room and changes the room without saying a word, but it's not about her. Whereas the performative feminine walks into a room and wants all eyes on her. And she's not giving to the space, right? She thinks the space owes her something, versus like the informative feminine knows she is the gift to offer to the space. What does the space need? How can I inform this space with silence, with wisdom, with a smile? Not shape-shifting in terms of contorting, but shape-shifting in terms of like, how can I serve this moment?
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's a natural expression of having chosen yourself so much and having given yourself the love that you so desperately looked for outside of you. Or that when you're sourcing your worth, your identity from something intrinsic as opposed to anything, any label or any construct that may have been given to you, like that then brings forth a natural expression of
Yes.
you that is a gift.
It's such a gift. And the piece was self-choosing. I love what you say, how it's an expression of someone who self-chooses, because, and you always reflect this back to me of like my range, how full my feminine range is. And that too is an expression of self-choosing. Because every day I sit at my altar, I'm like, how am I? What do I need today? What am I a no to today? What am I a yes to today? What does the moment need? So the more you choose yourself, the more range you have, versus if you're disconnected and you're just saying, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. There's really just one flavor, right? And that flavor is like self-betrayal and self-abandonment, right? But it might look different. On the outside, sweet, kind, agreeable, palatable, lovely,
Totally.
charming.
Totally. I mean, it sounds like, so if we had to break down self-choosing 101, if somebody was getting started, first is start with your daily practice in self,
I think that's a great way to do it. It's
right? So
low risk.
yeah, commit to yourself. Another thing is to just choose what you put in your body, on your body, and like actually just looking at the choices you make to honor self. Like choosing self is some ways the same as honoring self. It's the same as committing to self. Like if you have a promise or something that you are committing to, it could like there's many expressions of choosing yourself, and in some ways choosing yourself is like the active form of loving yourself.
Yes.
Or do you think there's a difference between the two, or do you think they're two in the same?
Well, as you're speaking, I'm like, let's give an example, because one can look very. You can take an action. Let's say, setting your alarm at 6 a.m. and going to the gym every morning, as a man or a woman. Uh, there could be a way that you participate in that. That's self-choosing because it's rooted in love. Because you're like, I want to be the kind of woman who wakes up a little bit earlier and I don't check my phone, and then I go to the gym and I feel really good and I get myself a good smoothie, and like, self-choosing from love, right? Feels like freedom, liberation, peace, ease, joy, grounding in the body, versus alarm goes off. I go to the gym because I hate myself, because I can't look at myself in the mirror, because I think I should, because my trainer told me to, whatever. Contraction, self-loathing, which is actually you're betraying yourself, even though it looks like you're choosing.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's almost like you have to be so honest with yourself. It's like a precursor to this journey of choosing yourself. Because it might look on paper to everyone else like you're choosing yourself. You got the thing, you got the thing you love, you got the dinners, you got all the friends, you got all the stuff. It's like, oh, I am choosing myself. And it's easy to BS yourself in so many ways, like bullshit who you are and actually abandon. But truly on the inside, when you actually check in, like you're not really choosing yourself.
Yes.
And it takes that courage and the courage to be vulnerable with yourself. That yeah, go ahead.
That 101 piece, if we were to make it simple, is ask yourself every day, where can I say yes to myself today and no to somebody else? That's probably most of you listening where the working space is saying no more to others, so that no makes way for yes, so that you can create spaciousness to say yes to yourself. So maybe that looks like, look at your calendar. Remove one social plan that you probably don't even really want to go to anyway, and run yourself a bath.
Man, that's really...
And that takes a lot of trust that your friends will still be there, that you'll still be loved, that you're not a bad person. So again, strong spine, soft heart.
Well, the quality of your life is directly proportional to the amount of risk you're willing to take. And I think these types of moments where you say no instead of yes is really healthy risk. You're not like blowing up your life. You're not walking away from a marriage. You're not doing this crazy thing, leaving your job. You're practicing the risk, but the inherently, the fact that there's risk is what allows for the alchemy of choosing to change who you are. Like coming back to the frequency, the signal that you're emitting, that signal is from the space of honesty, when you choose self and you feel that risk through your body, the fear of disappointing others, the fear of losing your friends, the fear of all these things. And you say, I love myself anyways. I love myself so much that I am not going to allow the fear of losing all of that stop me from feeling good in my body.
Yes.
From feeling good in my heart, from prioritizing my inner child or holding my little one with more care. And that act is a revolutionary act of healing. Like it changes who you are.
It's revolutionary. It's counterculture. Nobody teaches us this in
Yeah.
society. So you're like a little salmon swimming upstream. And that's the other thing too, is it's like little doses of devotion, little doses of self-choosing, little micro doses of yes, me, yes. And eventually when you start emanating that frequency of self-choosing, you'll attract other people who do the same. So that eventually you'll feel safe to say no. Yeah, and it'll be encouraged. And actually, eventually you get to a point where the people around you are like, thank you for honoring yourself. That becomes part of the culture that you've created for yourself. And you'll inspire others.
That's it. That's it. And it's a culture that I feel like is rooted in what the world needs so much of right now. I think we are living inside of these like cages that we've created for ourselves without realizing we can start to dissolve the cage, break out of the cage by simply coming back home. And that practice of coming back home is like a daily vitamin.
Yes.
It's like almost like I remember a few years ago, I did this like 100 days of Raj challenge. I was coming out of a relationship and I was just like, I need to like really actually learn that my needs matter. And I literally looked down and I was like, all right, what does choosing myself look? I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to write one kind thing about myself. So I started this gratitude list where I was writing one thing about myself, and every morning I would read that list. I was eating clean foods. I wasn't drinking during that time. And I told myself that it didn't matter if I was at a party, if I was at a wedding, if I was out at a work thing, I was going to not do that. And I was going to feel the discomfort. And it was one of the most revealing challenges I've ever been on, because it just brought out so much of where it brought up things on the days I didn't want to work out. When I didn't want to go to the gym, when I didn't feel like it, it brought stuff up. When I was in social situations and I was doing things that maybe created a situation, it brought up stuff, but all of that was being brought up to be liberated. And I feel like that's the era we're living in right now, is this era of being liberated from all these constructs and patterns that keep us sick, stuck, unhappy. And self-choosing is the way out of that.
It feels so good to choose self. And it's a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but you practice in low risk spaces and places. You practice with people you love. And then you start to, here's the other piece too, when other people in your life choose themselves, celebrate them for it.
That's a big one.
Because start to notice when you're on
really
this
big one.
journey of self-choosing, when someone's choosing themselves and it used to trigger you or cause a grip or a contraction, celebrate them for it. Create that opening.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad you brought that forward, because I think that what you see in others is what you see in yourself. And so if you start to notice other people choosing themselves, it almost like, it's like another way of you integrating more of that practice into your own life.
Totally.
So it's like what you appreciates kind of thing. When you when you practice gratitude, you start seeing more things to be grateful for. It's the same thing, and I love that, because if we can create a culture where we're all normalizing this, we're all going to be healthier, happier, and we're going to be in more sustainable cultures. I just don't think the culture of self-abandonment is sustainable. This is what leads to sickness.
Yeah, it's not sustainable, and it calcifies and crystallizes our emotional body as well. So we're unfeelable. And, in this technological age, it's really important that we are feelable, that we stay tethered and connected to ourselves, that we don't just get lost in the sea of disconnection. So self-choosing that's why it's so counterculture and revolutionary, and especially now.
And it's been really beautiful to watch your journey also, of just like, even ever since we began dating, like just the journey of what that's looked like. You came into the relationship choosing yourself pretty strongly, and then through the course of relationship found new edges and new ways. And I think it's remarkable. And I'm grateful because you teach me so much about knowing how to advocate for my needs. And you've been such a champion for me in choosing myself and celebrating it when I do and helping me see when I do, because I don't know if anyone else listening or watching resonates with this, but like I have a really hard time just knowing what I need.
Yeah.
Like
We all do.
as a man growing up, I never really was taught to like even locate my needs, know what I need, have any awareness of my needs. And so then like being in relationship, I remember when we first started dating, like you were like, what do you need? And cause you were wanting to devote. And I was just like,
Radio silence.
I don't know. And it's not that I don't have needs. It's not that it's just like my level of self-choosing didn't have nomenclature for needs. And so there's this practice period of learning.
Yes. And this is why doing it with yourself is a great place to start. So whether you're single, coupled, whatever, most of us at young ages had needs that weren't met, inevitably. And so there came a point in time when we were little where we decided it's less painful to sever myself from my needs than it is to not sever myself and not get that need met. And so we severed ourselves from our needs, and just like anything, it atrophies, it disappears, and there's neglect, and we don't even know that there are needs. And they are there, they're frozen in time. So there's needs. And so it's just dropping in with self, with other, with a beloved. What do you need, love? What do you need, baby? Like, and get creative and use your imagination. Like, that's like we had a fun little conversation last night, and one of Raj's home plays for the week is to ask me to do something for him.
I mean, but I come back to like this practice of choosing. If you don't have someone in your life who's doing that for you, in some ways you modeling it for yourself and then bringing that forward to them is a beautiful way to like invite them into the dance. Like that's what you've done with me. Like you have needs that you are expressing, choosing, fulfilling for yourself. And through that, you're advocating for me to do it. And it's like a bringing us forward. And so yes, choosing yourself can mean like pushing away somebody who wants something from you and you don't want to give it to them. It can mean saying no, but choosing yourself can also be in some ways like inviting someone else to choose themselves.
Yes. And it can be yummy.
It can be yummy and it can be playful and it can be great. And I'm just feel grateful, babe. Thank you for inspiring me to choose myself in deeper ways, and thank you for modeling the journey of self-choosing, especially because we have so many women that listen to this podcast, watch these episodes, and I just feel like you've you embody such a profound level of self-advocacy that I've just witnessed over and over again. And it's just remarkable and beautiful. And I'm just grateful that we got a chance to share some of that wisdom with everyone watching and listening, and allow this to be another episode in the Natalie Raj arc of beauty being shared into the world. So thanks for being, baby. I love you.
Love you.
All right, everyone, that's a wrap for this week's episode of Stay Grounded. I'm your host, Raj, and this is your old friend, Natalie. And from us, stay grounded.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Stay Grounded. No matter where you're from or what you're going through, I hope it helps you remember just how incredible you are and have always been. If you're on a path of emotional healing or self-discovery and would like to learn how Liberate can support your journey, head to www.rajana.com/liberate. That is LIBER8 to learn more about our current group programs and one-on-one offerings. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week.